Today we're going to be having a look at one of Rockstar's most criminally underrated classic titles, Manhunt. Manhunt 1, to be specific. But instead of playing the game as I normally would, I decided to do a full-on first-person playthrough. So, let's find out how well this game plays in first-person, and whether or not it should have been a first-person game all along. I guess the title of this video kind of spoils that. The game begins with the execution of the game's protagonist, James Earl Cash. Damn, well, this is gonna be a short video. Although it would have been nice to get a bit more backstory on why he's been sentenced to death, it's never elaborated on exactly what he did. I don't know, he probably made a video about transphobia in GTA 5 or something. Fortunately though, the game doesn't end there. As it turns out, James is very much still alive. For now.
You're not dead. Well, not yet anyway. You're probably somebody shocked.
You know, maybe it's just me, but I feel like trust is kind of a difficult thing to establish when a mere 25 seconds ago you just said, quote, "You're not dead." Well, not yet anyway. Whatever. The voice you're hearing is none other than legendary actor Brian Cox. The man encourages Cash to put on an earpiece so that only he can hear the beautiful graveliness of Brian Cox. Cash then attacks a camera for some reason before being told to stop it, and being promised that he'll be free to leave as long as he does what he's told. Now, the first chapter of this game is really simple, and is actually one of the most fun sections in the game. As you make your way down the street, you pick up a plastic bag. As useless as this item may seem, it is in fact one of the most iconic and useful items in the game. By sneaking up behind a so-called hunter and equipping a weapon, you'll be given a chance to execute them. There are 3 levels of executions: gray, yellow, and red. Gray being the quickest one, yellow being more violent, and red being the most gruesome. So, we take out the dummy, hide in some shadows, kill another dummy, and then navigate to the basketball court. Here, the game introduces one of the most awkward and useless things you could possibly engage in: hand-to-hand combat. You see, unlike Jimmy Hopkins, James Earl Cash can't do a lot of damage. In fact, he moves awkwardly, doesn't have good blocking, has terrible fighting moves, and, well, simply put, he sucks at fighting. You're actually better off running away from fights in the game most of the time. Seeing as this is a fenced-off area, you have no option but to engage in the subpar fighting mechanics. Fortunately, this is a tutorial section, so the guy you're fighting is easily dealt with. And after making our way out of the basketball court and staring at some juicy hoodie booty, we take out another gang member. As I understand it, these guys are like low-rank street thugs and hitmen for hire, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense. They actually suck at all of those things. I mean, they all walk around whistling and muttering to themselves, so it's not like sneaking up on them is any kind of obstacle. So after wasting a few more hoods, we YOLO our way down a chute. A chute? A chute?
You're doing fine, Cash, just fine. We're getting some great material here. Keep going.
Oh yeah, I should probably explain. The director, or simply Lionel Starkweather, he's a washed-up, disgraced filmmaker who now makes a living directing snuff films. You know, films where real people die, meaning that all of the people you come across are simply pawns for you to kill so that he can record and sell the footage to various sickos around the city. The official Valiant Entertainment website was initially used as a promo for Manhunt before shutting down and being purchased by a fan of the game. Now, it redirects you to a Manhunt 3 petition page, boasting a whooping 1,664 signatures. Godspeed. As we progress throughout this level, the game repeatedly gives you more and more powerful melee weapons. The weapons in the game are categorized as green, blue, red, and yellow. Although green weapons are basically useless as melee weapons, they are very efficient as a means of executing hunters, as they make little to no sound. Though you can only use a green weapon once before it breaks. Blue weapons can be used multiple times to execute enemies, but they also make noise, which can give away your position to a hunter if they're within close proximity. But as melee weapons, they are okay. Red weapons are heavier and take longer to swing, but they do the most amount of damage. Performing executions with a red weapon is not recommended, as it'll make a ton of noise. Yellow weapons are throwables, also known as lures. Basic stuff you can throw, like bricks, glass bottles, soda cans, that kind of thing. To get to the next level, we'll need a crowbar to bust open a padlock. And after getting jump scared by an enemy carrying one, we beat him to a pulp and take it back to the padlock. Breaking padlocks causes a lot of noise, so it's always a good idea to be on the safe end and make sure you've taken out nearby enemies before you do it. For some reason, the game now introduces what they call a setup. to my recollection, this sort of thing never happens ever again in the game, so it's kind of pointless to explain it and be like, oh, here's the tutorial section for a thing that never happens again, ah! Something that I also don't get is why Starkweather immediately admonishes you for getting spotted. Like, you locked me in a room with another person, and now you're complaining that they can see me?
Use your head.
The whole point is that I'm gonna fight this guy, and it's gonna be like a one-on-one, right? So like, yeah, he's gonna see me, I'm right fucking there. Whatever, you kill the dude and move on. Hey, player, remember the jump scare we did? Like 5 minutes ago? Well, how about another jump scare? Ooh! Okay, that was bad. But how about another jump scare? Thankfully, the game takes it easy on jump scares and now puts you in an interesting situation. You have multiple hunters looking for you, so you have to make sure you pick your targets carefully. If one sees you, then he'll call out to his friends, revealing your position and putting you in immediate danger. As challenging as this may sound, it's actually not that big of a deal. In fact, here's me executing a hunter in front of his buddy. Because of AI limitations, he just kind of stands there observing it. Hi. We then kill a couple more hunters, bust a padlock, and head down into a cellar. And then, I somehow broke the AI by doing this.
I can smell you. Shit! Like he's over there!
Cash attempts to run away, but ooh woo, what's this? A group of mercenaries known as Cerberus have arrived and are instructed by Starkweather to bring Cash to the next shooting location. I wonder what this red armband could possibly symbolize. Probably nothing, that'd be woke. Speaking of red armbands, let's move on to the game's most memorable gang, in my opinion. These guys are known as the Skins. After being literally thrown to the curb by the Cerberus, Cash now finds himself stuck in an actual dump crawling with skinheads and other friendly phrenology fanboys. It is kind of funny how people to this day complain about how Rockstar have gotten political and woke, when in actuality, damn near 20 fucking years ago, you spent a good chunk of a game cracking neo-Nazi skulls with a baseball bat. The first objective is to acquire a knife so you can cut some rope preventing you from opening a gate. Okay, now once we've done that, we're slowly approaching this very ominous trailer with a pile of gore in front of it.
There's a nail gun in that trailer. You can stand the smell.
Thank you for that, Rockstar. Okay, so we kill the shit man, pick up the nail gun, and then some skins show up for some target practice. Now this is when the game first dabbles in gunplay, and well, results may vary. On one hand, it is nice to keep a nail gun as a backup weapon to quickly take out an enemy, and the fact that it takes a few headshots to kill someone with it also means that there's a decent amount of challenge involved. But on the other hand, the nail gun quickly becomes way overused from this point on. Cash tries making his way past the gate, but then Starkweather is all like, it's locked, neenu, neenu, neenu. And of course, we have to switch off the electricity keeping the gate locked. And I'm like 99% sure that's not how an electric lock works.
These skins are boring me, dumbass supremacist bastards. Always blaming others for their inadequacies. Butcher them, Cash. Cut them up, beat them down, and choke the fucking life out of them.
This level is called Fueled by Hate, and yeah, it's one of the most annoying things in the game. The first objective is simple. You have to kill 3 skins, and then Starkweather opens a gate. And after that, we get this.
Oh, yeah. Oh, das ist gut, ja. This shit seems content to watch porn and avoid all the action. If he won't switch it off himself, we'll have to do it for him.
Now just to be clear, my problem is not with the objectification of women, blah blah blah. It's the fact that this sort of thing is seldom ever seen in the game. Ever. Again, I mean, the fact that you have to, like, create a distraction, not the German porn. It just seems to me like Manhunt would be a perfect game for scenarios where you have to find creative ways of distracting enemies. I don't know, say, throwing a brick at a car to make the car alarm go off so that the owner of the car has to go investigate. Instead, this kind of thing is only used a couple more times to my recollection. And it's a shame. It's a stealth video game. Like, does it not make sense to have stealth be the primary part of it? Okay, prepare for something stupid. So, following this, we find a crane. Okay, and as you can tell, there's a fridge blocking our path. And it's not like any able-bodied person could easily climb over it. No, that would make sense. Instead, we have to find fuel for the crane so that we can use it to move the fridge. It's a fucking fridge! Like, what? Okay, so we fuel up the crane, move the fridge, Starkweather gives me shit for getting spotted, even though there's no way of possibly avoiding that. And after killing a bunch more skins, we again find another crane and fridge obstacle. The objective's so nice, they did it twice. I guess one of the level designers was just really fucking proud of this. So there's a big nail gun fight that happens when you do this, and it's really annoying and stupid, and I just ran away from it. In fact, as I made my escape, I ran out of nails, and I ended up just running past the final guy right by the gate.
What's with you guys? Come on!
And once again, the Cerberus capture Cash and they bring him to the next location. Meanwhile...
Give him fucking food! Enough bullshitting! Give him fucking food! Oh, fuck! This guy fucking stinks! Just give him fucking food and let's get the hell out of here!
Now, looking at this, you might think, what the fuck? What the actual fuck is happening? What is this? Just hang on. It's gonna take a minute, but we'll get back to it later, I promise. Anyway, welcome to the Carcer City Zoo. Here, we meet the survivalist gang known as War Dogs. Led by Starkweather's head of security, Ramirez, the War Dogs are one of the most aggressive and skilled group of hunters. Taking it all back to basics, we pick up some wire and kill the first hunter. What's interesting about this weapon is the fact that yellow and red executions will result in Cash slicing off the head of his victim. Now this allows you to pick up the decapitated head and use it as a way of luring enemies. Or if you're a sicko like me, you can chuck it at a wall for fun. Not to mention how much more awesome performing executions with a wire looks in first person. After obtaining a machete, we cut some rope to gain access through a door, kill a hunter, again somehow briefly glitch the game, and then proceed navigating the zoo. But before we leave, the game actually has a special surprise. Another crowbar padlock puzzle, yay! I do want to give some props to the level designer. This time around, it pays off to pay close attention to detail. By picking up the crowbar and heading back to near the beginning of the level, you can use the crowbar to break into a room containing a sawn-off shotgun. You only get 3 rounds, but it's an incredibly powerful weapon at close range. One of the hunters carries a tranquilizer rifle, which allows you to stun and knock out enemies. Moving on, this to me is one of the most interesting and memorable parts of the game.
Each time they spot you, these war dogs are going to execute one of your beloved family.
It's memorable because of the premise and because of how this type of objective absolutely requires stealth and planning. And the thing that I find so interesting about this level is the fact that, like, there's no reward at all for saving all of your family members. There's none. You get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir. But in spite of that, you still feel kind of obligated to save all of them. The one part I feel doesn't make a whole lot of sense is how Cash is all like, go on, get out of here, after he cuts one loose.
You're okay. Go.
I don't know if, like, having your family running around like headless chickens, desperately searching for an exit, I don't know if that's, like, the best approach. If I ever found myself in a situation like this, then, you know, my first instinct would be to give the family member I just freed a gun and be like, hey, stick close. But instead, it's just like, alright, you're free, fuck off. Okay, so after rescuing all 4 hostages, like the Chad I am, Starkweather opens a strangely located door. We head through the building and yet again get captured by Cerberus.
You just won't fucking die, will you?
And at this point, the game introduces us to one of the most interesting gangs in any video game ever, the Innocentz. Again, spelled with a Z because, I don't know, maybe they stole it from a Christian nu metal band or something. Hey, look at that, it's Shaggy 2-Dope. What a lot of people don't know is that the Innocentz are actually 2 gangs combined into one. Why am I gesticulating numbers? Like, yeah, 2. So the first half consists of Latin American Satanists, and the other half is a bunch of pedophiles. We now find ourselves in a derelict shopping mall, and as cool as this setting is, the way that it's used is so disappointing. You start off by getting a revolver. From here on, it's a standard third-person corridor shooter. This is when I noticed something really cool that I have to give the game's developers props for. Depending on how many shots you fired, Cash's reload animation will change. So if you fire one shot and then reload, Cash will put in one bullet. And if you fire two, then he'll load up two bullets, and so on. You know, it's nothing major by today's standards, but back in 2003, this was a nice little attention to detail. Nicely done.
I thought you could do with a little R&R, so I've arranged a special screening just for you. I've hidden a tape and a video camera in the mall. Find them.
Okay, so after acquiring the tape inside of Rolio Record Store, I went into a pharmacy and I found a locked door. And instead of just letting me figure this one out on my own, the game just tells me what to do. It's like, hey, dumbass, shoot the lock. So I do, and inside I get a sawn-off shotgun, so yay. Would have been nice if I had to, like, use my brain for a second, but whatever. And after we head into another store to pick up the camera, we realize, alas, the display is broken. The only thing left to do is hit up the local bar, turn on the power from the basement, and go back upstairs to watch the tape on TV. Okay, yeah, that was just kind of embarrassing. Apparently, the dead body in one of these stalls is a member of the Hoods, which kind of implies a rivalry between the Innocents and the Hoods. I think it would have been fantastic if we got more interactions between the different gangs in the game. You have this unique setting with all of these violent factions, and you only get to see them attack each other on like 2 occasions. And one of them is just like a prop on a level. So we turn on the TV, and what's this? Starkweather betrayed us and had our family killed. I mean, you said that I was eventually gonna die, but, you know, I trusted you. So yeah, Cash's family is dead.
Where were your family when you were facing your final moments in the chamber anyway? You've left your old life, your old self. I'm all the family you need now. I've got a little surprise for you. You look lonely, so I got you some company. Unfortunately, the Innocents thought better of it and locked them up. You're gonna have to bust them up.
One thing that always kind of confused me is how we went from being in a shopping mall to being here. The way this level begins implies that we left through a fenced-off hole in a wall. Now, the first task is to take out the Innocent guarding our new friend.
Well, what do you think of your new friend? You look good together, Cash. Really, you do.
Here's a fun fact. Tramp, as he's called, is played by the uncredited Mark Margolis. Margolis? Probably should have looked this up before I hit record. Whatever, he's the guy who played Hector in Breaking Bad. He also played Shadow in Scarface. So the objective is to lead Tramp to gated off parts of the level. If Tramp is not with you, then Starkweather simply refuses to open the gate. As far as I know, the Tramp has no ability at all to defend himself, so it's a good idea to play it safe and tell him to stay in the shadows, kill off any nearby hunters, and then continue escorting him. But yeah, eventually we end up in a graveyard, and then another jump scare happens. We get our hands on some guns and waste more innocence.
You're making this look too easy. Cut these guys some slack, for Christ's sake. You've left your new chum behind. Friends are supposed to look out for each other.
Okay, he's literally hiding seconds away from me while I'm in the middle of a shootout. I think he's fine, Lionel. Remember the homeless guy we were just escorting? Congratulations! Your memory is actually better than the people who designed Manhunt, because from this point on, he's gone. On a different note, I love how the game's developer added this shaky cam effect to the camera panning around the level. It implies that there's somebody running around with a camera while the game shows you which way to go. It's a nice detail, and it kind of adds a bit of immersion to it, so that's nice. I like that. Well done. Keep this in mind, because any sense of realism this thing brings gets thrown right the fuck out of the window later. Thank God for these bulletproof cardboard boxes. And after unlocking the gate, we're instructed to go into a warehouse. And once again, the game makes clever use of this camera movement. Okay, so we head into this basement control room thing, and we switch on the power so we can use an elevator. We kill a bunch of Innocents, drop through this thing, kill more Innocents, take an elevator, kill Earl and Innocent, walk through this giant vent because the game's developers couldn't be bothered to program a crawling feature, and then drop into either a lunchroom or a closet. Well, I'm not gonna go back in there. Kill some more gang members, and again try to escape. Cash casually jogs away, but damn it, it's Cerberus.
What the fuck?
Get to bed. Now.
The senator also visited the Darkwoods Penitentiary, which hosts more than 1,000 inmates from all over the country. The prison's modern facilities include spacious cells for the inmates. The exceptionally well-staffed hospital is equipped for emergencies, as well as routine health checks. Adjacent to row 1, the electric chair room, is where death sentences are carried out.
The gang you'll be facing off against in this level are known as the Smileys. What? They're violent and mentally ill criminals that have somehow taken over an asylum. You'd think the government would have stepped in by now, but no. Now the first Smiley on the chopping block is Fug. And to get his attention, we have to electrocute some poor random schmuck in this chair. And here's a cool little piece of trivia.
I know you're here! You left a trail of head juice.
One of the Smileys is played by Robert Stanton, that being the voice of Lionel Galloway from Bully. Come to think of it, Galloway also ends up in an asylum, so it's kind of an odd coincidence.
Hey, Mr. Galloway.
Go away! I don't want to have another group therapy session with those people. If I have to pretend to be someone's mother one more time, I'll... Oh.
Dog legs!
Okay, so the next objective is to kill all the Smileys without getting detected. If they see you, then they'll lock the door leading to the next location. So after some runny, hidey, shooty, we pick up a can of gas, blow it up at the wrong location like a dumbass, wait for another one to spawn, bring it to the correct spot, and then yet again listen to Starkweather admonish us for not being stealthy enough when there's really no way to avoid getting spotted. There is a nice little detail in this level as well. Instead of bringing the body of your main target to the end of the level, if you literally bring his head, you'll get a shotgun, so that's kinda nice.
Monkey see, monkey kill. That's your motivations for the next scenes. You're killing to entertain, so take your time and play to the camera.
I've heard some people say that although Manhunt does have some gruesome executions, you're never forced to use them. Whoever told you that is wrong. I'm sorry, but like this level actually requires you to be as violent as possible. The challenge during this section lies in sneaking up on enemies without their buddies seeing you. From that point on, you have to use the yellow and red executions. I don't mind this, I just find it to be a really weird common misconception. I don't have a problem with it, I'm just saying. The thing about the Smileys in this section is that they all stick closely together, so it may take a lot of hiding in the shadows before you can find a window of opportunity to strike. And for whatever ungodly reason, the game yet again throws us back into a shooting section. It's nice and all to see some variety in combat, but this is not it.
You're my big, ugly Alice, so go on. Follow the White Rabbit.
Following the White Rabbit, we get lured into, you guessed it, a shooting section. But unlike the previous shooting sequences, this one has us fighting off melee-carrying Smileys. And honestly, I don't mind. It's fun and relatively easy. Something I noticed while going through gameplay footage is how the camera angle is the exact same between the first cutscene and the one that plays when you get ambushed. Unintentional continuity or not, I like it. And after yet more corridor shooting, we head into a watch room. Here, we have to fend off against a ton of enemies carrying melee weapons and firearms. And after that, we have some more corridor shooting. And hey, look at that! This is the character model used for Cash in a few of those early pre-release promo screenshots of Manhunt. And hey, look at that! It's the same aforementioned beta character model. And believe me, there are plenty of places in the game from this point on where you can find Cash's beta model. It's cool when it's there one time, but when you repeatedly use the exact same model over and over again as like an Easter egg, it just kind of loses all meaning. At the very least, it doesn't have the same impact it had on me the first time I saw this. But anyway, so after we do more shooting, yet again we get betrayed by Starkweather.
What can I say? You are a good leading man. The audience will love you. Don't expect any royalty checks where you're going.
Considering that he held us captive this whole time and even killed our family, I don't know if it's much of a betrayal. And for some stupid reason, Starkweather assumed we'd die here because we're now getting shot at by... Let me count. 4 people. Starkweather has no doubt seen Cash kill like 8 armed people at a time on at least half a dozen occasions by now. Like, what the fuck happened? Did he run out of smileys? And if so, why not just have like 10 Cerberus dudes show up with assault rifles and turn them into Swiss cheese? Anyway, we go outside, kill the rabbit, get the key, snipe some Cerberus, run outside, and then escape.
Ramirez! You let Cash slip his leash. Bring him to heel.
Where do you think you're going, man? You think you're tough? Think you're tough? I'll rip your fucking head off! You like hide and seek? You like hide and fucking seek? Well, we're coming for you, asshole. What's the matter, little boy? Ready or not? It's our turn now. Run! Run!
Like many other scenes, this one begins with some basic sneaking around and executing of war dogs. And after that, Ramirez sends out some armed goons to find Cash. Making our way up the stairs, we sneak up on and kill more and more war dogs. Ramirez then runs outside to call in for backup. Not sure why he didn't just do that from the beginning or why he needs to be outside to do that, but okay. Initially, it may seem as though you need to pursue him, but in actuality, you just need to follow him until he runs outside the building. From then on, you can go into one of the apartments, grab a sniper rifle, and headshot him from a safe distance. After some more shooting, Cash finally manages to escape, and then this happens.
Get in, you idiot! Get in!
Pull over! Pull over!
Is now really the best time to stop the car? I mean, could you not just wait like 10 more seconds at least so you head down a few blocks at full speed so you can get some distance between you and the people attempting to kill you? Why? Okay, fuck it. Just forget about it.
Who are you? I've seen your face before.
Get off of me! I'm a reporter! I was at your execution!
Keep talking.
I've been following Starkweather's operation for months.
Who's Starkweather?
The guy that's been talking you through this whole circus of death? Look, I've got all I need to expose that sick bastard, but he's definitely on to me now. So I have to get back to my apartment, collect my material, and get out of town before I become another one of Starkweather's extras.
You can bring him down? This Starkweather?
Absolutely. This is gonna make my career.
Okay, let's go.
Huh?
To your apartment. Drive!
We've lost. What? Thank you, fuck. Oh, shut up and get some of your boys to take care of it. Don't file the arrest report. Don't kill him either. Send both to me.
Hey, remember who you're talking to, you son.
Listen, you fuck. It's your job to clean up this city's mess. That's what you get paid for.
Shit.
So the man in the cutscene is Gary Schaefer, the chief of police. And as implied by the cutscene, he's corrupt and in cahoots with Starkweather.
Okay, pull over here.
But it's another block or two to my apartment.
Just shut up and stick with me if you want to stay alive.
This level is a bit of a copy-paste from the drunk driving level. You have to keep the reporter alive and get her to the apartment. If she's not with you, then you won't be able to proceed. And if you leave her too far behind, then she'll freak out and come looking for you. It sounds annoying, but it's really not. The way the game pulls this off is perfectly balanced. And by the way, you do get to kill a bunch of cops on the way, so that's nice. So after slaughtering some piggies and looking at the same framed picture of a cat as the one in San Andreas, we bring the reporter to collect her evidence.
Everything I need is in that box under the table.
Good. Take it and get out of town.
But you're not coming with me?
I'm going to deal with Starkweather personally. Thank him for my second chance. You're my backup if I don't make it. Have a nice life.
I kinda like how the game subverts the expectation most people would have when it comes to the relationship between Cash and the reporter. Instead of forcing some unlikely romantic chemistry between them, Cash is just kinda like, there, I helped you, now fuck off, I got shit to do.
This is dispatch. Seal the perimeter. Snipers have been ordered to move in.
Shit! We got plenty big trouble!
Come on, let's flash that bastard out!
Some of you might recognize this voice, and yes, it is yet another bully actor. It's Dennis Ostermeyer, the same voice actor used for Tobias, the bike store owner in Bully.
Here she is. Beautiful. Molded plastic, covered in aluminum wrap. with your name misspelled on it.
Excellent.
Great.
There's not a whole lot else to say about this level. You just kind of kill more cops and then head down the subway, so let's carry on.
You'll never get out of that subway alive.
Roger, we're at the station.
This is where the game introduces the SWAT team, one of the most dangerous and frustrating antagonist gangs in the series. A lot of them are carrying SMGs that stun lock you and within a couple seconds drain you of all your health. And to top it all off, there's like 12 of them, so that's fair. To this day, I really have no idea how to do this stealthily, so I just took them out one or two at a time, turned the power back on, ran back to the subway station, and hopped on the train. The train then takes off, which kind of makes me curious. Who's operating it, and why is that person not being stopped by the SWAT team or Starkweather? I mean, like, if Starkweather has the entire city's police doing his bidding, could he not just bribe or intimidate some randy train conductor into, you know, not operating the train? After getting off on the next stop and roasting some more bacon, we get this. Despite the somewhat boring atmosphere, the train tracks area in this level, in my opinion, and I know a lot of people beg to differ on this, I think that it actually does something really cool by combining shooting with stealth. Because of the semi-open area, you can easily lure cops around, shoot them, and then swiftly run away before anybody sees you. But at the same time, there's a big risk involved because they have firearms as well. So it's a pretty wide area where both of you have two different types of advantages. It's a really nice balance between sneaking and shooting that I think the game should have leaned more heavily on. Okay, so we climb on top of this train, jump from cart to cart, and then proceed running like hell until we reach the end. And then this cutscene plays.
Not another inch, asshole!
Be advised, dispatch, we have the animal. Put your fucking hands up!
Is it just me, or does it seem a bit redundant to show us the exact same thing in both a mini cutscene and then a pre-rendered cutscene immediately following? Especially when the pre-rendered cutscene is way more intense and just looks better. They really should have had this play immediately after you went through the gate.
Put your fucking hands up! Shoot that cop killer son of a bitch!
So back at Starkweather's crib, a few Cerberus have had enough and are preparing not only to disobey directive, but even kill James Earl Cash.
You know what? I don't give a fuck what Starkweather wants. Maybe today I kill you, maybe not. Kill the camera.
But then, quite possibly the most awesome thing in the entire game happens.
Piggsy! What was that? Go check it out. Maybe it is your day. Shit! What the fuck is that? Support! Repeat! Send it! Oh shit!
And so begins my least favorite part of the game. Okay, so everything starts out simple. You get a green weapon, you take out a lone hunter, get his gun, and then move through Starkweather's yard. Piggsy is on the loose, and gruesome remains of various Cerberus can be found across the place. Remember that cool camera shake thing the game did like a few scenes ago? Well, it seems like whoever's holding the camera now has no clip enabled. I think my main grievance with this level has to do with the fact that the setting is fantastic. It's perfect. It really is. But it's held back by the fact that you have enemies that respawn, making this the most notoriously hard mission in any of the two games. Basically, what can happen is that if you sneak up on an enemy and kill him, and then another one shows up and you kill him, then you'll just be stuck in this loop where you're just like in the same spot doing the same thing over and over again, and after like 20 minutes, you'll realize like, oh wait, the game's just like spamming more enemies. They're never gonna run out of them. I've heard people say that you're supposed to take out the 2 snipers and then the Cerberus will stop respawning. I have no idea if this is accurate because after I've killed the snipers, I always end up running and gunning until I reach the end.
Starkweather, give me the key. Yes, sir. I want you to go down to the basement and turn off the motor. We can't be safe with these 2 bastards running around. We're on it, sir.
Okay, so there are things that I like and dislike about this level. One thing that I like is how destroying the cameras is a good way of making sure the Cerberus can't see you. That's kinda clever. I like that. And I will say this, because of how quiet everything is and the labyrinthian layout of the mansion, you do feel a lot of tension. But yeah, we kill the Cerberus leader, take his elevator key, and now we need to turn on the power down in the basement. Wait a minute. Turn on the power? So wait, you have like all these cameras that are watching you supposedly, and they're functioning in the year 2003 without any power. What? Here's something strange I noticed. After turning on the power, the blip on the radar for the power switch disappeared. But after dying and reloading my save, the blip remained on my radar throughout the remainder of this level. And as a result, after going upstairs and killing the remaining Cerberus, I went back down to the basement because I thought, oh, maybe I have to turn the power back off? I mean, there's a blip there, so I'm supposed to go there and do something, right? And so I ended up spending like 2 minutes trying to use the switch before realizing, wait a minute, this makes no sense. Is this a fucking developer oopsie whoopsie? And yes it is. What you're supposed to do is go upstairs and use the elevator. Would have been kinda nice if I had some type of indicator to convey that, like, oh, I don't know, a blip on the radar? Cash enters the elevator only for Piggsy to arrive and try to slice him through the elevator doors. Now, Cash is a badass, but even he's like, fuck this, and so he panics when escaping, causing him to drop his assault rifle in the process. It is kind of a dumb excuse to explain away why you have no weapons at the beginning of this section, but at the same time, I can forgive it. If I climbed my way out of an elevator with some naked, pig-faced, chainsaw-wielding cannibal attacking me, then yeah, I most likely would have accidentally dropped something else in the process too. Okay, so the elevator is now fucked, and there's no way but forward. Slowly walking down this hallway, something feels off. It's too quiet. Nope! As intimidating as this scene may look, it's in truth not at all that difficult. You have plenty of spaces to hide, and you can easily deal with Piggsy by finding shards of glass to stab him with. After stabbing him 3 times, Piggsy freaks out and runs off. It is a bit sad when you think about how broken this man has become. He legitimately believes that he is a pig. His humanity's gone, and his immediate means of hiding from danger is by returning to the very same place Starkweather held him locked up in chains for who knows how long. It's no way for a human being to live, and you could make the case that putting him down would probably be the most merciful option. It is worth noting that it's only when you approach Piggsy that he tries to kill you, so from his point of view, it's self-defense. In his mind, you're the monster. You're the villain. You're the scary thing attacking.
Get Piggsy's home!
After leading Piggsy over this fence thing, he almost causes it to break, so he nopes back to his hiding spot. Again, we provoke him and lead him back to the same spot. This time, the thing breaks, causing him to hang onto the ledge.
Wasted!
Having all that done, now we take care of Starkweather.
Send him to hell! Go on!
Never mind. But hey, at least now we get to pull off some badass chainsaw executions. After quite possibly literally scaring the shit out of Starkweather with this entrance, we grab the chainsaw and get ready for one hell of a confrontation.
You don't get it, do you? The world has moved on, Cash. It's over for you. Hell, this is insane. Cash, I made you!
Acclaimed movie maker Lionel Starkweather has been found dead today, along with several of his bodyguards, at his estate at the Wapona Hills residential district. In what investigators are calling a bloody vendetta, an unknown assailant infiltrated the compound, killing Starkweather, but more interestingly, leading police to the site of a snuff film ring being run from the estate's confines. Linked to this ring is Carcer City's own police chief, Gary Schaefer, whose lawyer stated that he intends to plead not guilty.
After the final cutscene, we get a final score, determined by the ratings we got on previous levels. 63 out of 100 is close to what I'd give this game. I'm gonna be a bit more generous. I'll give it 70 out of 100 beam colas. I feel like that's fair. The very last part of this game is superb. The beginning is strong, and every now and then there's a little bit of well-needed variety, but a lot of the game is held back by an overabundance of lackluster gunplay. Maybe video game trends at the time kind of necessitated Rockstar to lean more into action than horror. It just feels like a wasted opportunity. I feel like they should have stuck to what the game established immediately and then what it came back to in the end. The fuck was that? Not to mention how the game sometimes insists on holding your hand through optional puzzles instead of just giving you a chance at figuring them out on your own. Were it not for the fascinating premise, overall solid voice acting, and the John Carpenter-esque soundtrack, I would have in all likelihood given this game a score of 30 out of 100. I think what makes Manhunt memorable is not just the gameplay, but the atmosphere, the tone, the grittiness, the vibe. And although the game does hold up as a third-person game, I'm now convinced that Manhunt is by far more enjoyable, atmospheric, captivating, and scary as a first-person game. Even setting aside how finicky and fiddle-fucky gunplay can be, the meat and potatoes of the game have always been stealth and executions, all taking place in the filthy, creepy, and derelict locales you find yourself trying to escape. The icing on the cake being the creative ways in which you lure enemies around, be it via knocking on a wall or chucking a brick down a hallway. Fun fact, on the original Xbox and PS2 versions of the game, you could even use a headset to lure enemies by using your voice to taunt them. Most people don't know that. I think more people should know that because it goes to show that back in 2003, Rockstar was way ahead of the curve in a lot of regards. Obviously, the developers brought a lot of fun ideas to the table, so it's a shame to see a lot of these mechanics being shoved to the side when the game showers you with guns. Finding a revolver would have felt way more like you just came across a powerful backup weapon in case you find yourself getting cornered, rather than a reminder that you probably have a bland corridor shooter section coming up. Third-person gameplay is a standard found in just about every game Rockstar has ever made, whereas first person gives the player all the more reason to pay attention to the environmental details and occasionally keep their eye on their six. And yeah, some people may point out the fact that Manhunt was initially released on Xbox and PS2, and therefore playing the game from a first person perspective would have been awkward control-wise. And although I see what you mean, I have to beg to differ. Optimization is key when creating any type of video game, so I would submit that it's not impossible for a studio like Rockstar North back in 2002 to 2003 to take their time and optimize the controls and work out any other movement issues. Now, as for the first-person mod itself, I think the biggest problem I faced was the camera clipping through walls, which sometimes resulted in me being given unintentional wall hack, as well as some executions looking a little bit off in first person, you know, heads clipping through the camera, that sort of thing. But again, Rockstar North could have easily fixed all these issues over the span of a couple of weeks, so it's not like any of these problems would have remained had the studio come to the realization that Manhunt should have been a first-person game. But hey, if you disagree with me, then that's fine. Come to think of it, no, it's not. Anyway, that's it for this video. You folks, as always, stay classy. And thank you for watching. Peace.